Hello and welcome back to Bannerlord Modded. We're going in a siege almost immediately here because we have a very important task on our hands. Our task is to try and take every single one of the Sturgian's fiefs before the war exhaustion kicks in, and that is about to happen very, very soon. Now, there is an army running around from the Sturgians as well. There's also an army from the Palatians very nearby to my current position, and that has about 800 units in it. So that's obviously a bit of a problem, but hopefully we're going to be able to avoid their attention, at least for the moment, and we're hopefully going to be able to, well, as I say, take all of the Sturgian fiefs and then move on to where we need to go. Sionon has just been taken, by the way, by the Palatians. I couldn't really do anything about that. I mean, why would I, to be honest? Because, in general, there is so much going on that I need to choose my battles where and when I take them. Because if I take every single one, then I will end up losing everything. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where if you don't choose and you try and focus on every single thing, then you're going to lose everything anyway. But if you select and pick very, very, carefully and very selectively, then you're going to have a much easier time, or at least that's the plan. So we'll see if we can maybe work that out. Maybe if we can do that, then we'll be in a nice position going forward. But I'm a little bit worried about that. Anyway, this should be kind of easy for us because there won't be too many enemies here that really have the ability to murder us too much. I did try to go into one of my nearby garrisons to get a bunch of units to, hopefully reinforce our own armies, but that actually did not work out as I intended. Yeah, I actually wanted to go in there, but the place that I went into only has about 150 units in the garrison as it is, and most of them are tier 2, tier 3, so it is basically useless for me to take anything out of there, because if I do, I'm basically leaving it completely undefended, or pretty much undefended as it is. So that's certainly something that we don't want to do, especially considering the town in question that I'm talking about is on the front lines, basically. It's right there. And that's certainly something we want to try and avoid taking any more units away from, because otherwise it's just gonna fall like no one's business. It's gonna fall in literally a blink. And we do not want that. Anyway, there's 20 deaths. Not too bad. But we obviously do have to be very wary of our garrison as well. Because here's the thing. What's going to happen is that if we claim this, which I think I will, then my forces are going to place units in the garrison here. That's just how it goes. That is just how it goes. So obviously, that being the case, we now have a bit of a problem, because obviously I'm consistently losing units to the automatic garrison systems that the vassals tend to have. So that's obviously a bit of a problem, because then we can't really do battle with the larger armies in the world. Like, for example, this one right here is about our size, which is perfect, because I'm going to be going in there and fighting against her. But this is obviously a bit of a problem in itself, because as you can see by the combat strength, it is pretty much even. It's pretty much even with us right now, which is kind of scary, because if you think about it, that means that they have about the same tier of unit that we do, and that is a big source of, well, fear basically from me right there, because if they do have the same kind of tier as us, then we could very well end up losing this. And it hasn't been the case lately that we have really had the opportunity to even consider a defeat at the hands of our enemies, because either they are significantly outnumbered, or the level of their units is so dramatically lower than us that we really don't have to worry. But this is going to be a bit different, although the combat strength that we're seeing right now could be a result of their cavalry. That might be the reason, because cavalry generally tends to contribute much more combat strength than infantry or archers or anything like that, because obviously they're on a mount. It makes sense that they are going to have a little bit more combat strength to provide to a field battle. But we'll see. We'll see if that is indeed the case. You know, I'm actually thinking, now that I have a lot of cavalry, I don't know whether you noticed that, but obviously did I tell you that I got a lot of cavalry actually in the previous episode? I'm not entirely sure, but whatever the case, I do have a lot of cavalry in my army at the moment, so I can much more effectively skirmish with the opponent, and I actually forgot about that. All things considered, I actually did forget about that, so it's good that I was reminded about it just now, and now we can actually do some damage with these things, you know, because before we're kind of like, you know what, I got no cavalry, I'm not going to be able to really do much, but yeah, I can actually contribute quite heavily with the use of our cavalry here, so I'm looking forward to seeing what can be done with these guys, and see if we can maybe get a little bit more damage on these guys. Although at the moment this is turning into a bit of a frustrating situation because we have a lot of cavalry running around here. A lot of these enemies are running around and they are not dying for some reason. Seems like they are very resilient. Not to me though, apparently. I mean, sometimes, obviously, but most of the time it seems like I am the only one getting kills against the enemy cavalry for some reason. Here we go. Here's the main conglomerate of the opponent. That's absolutely fantastic. We really do want to get in there as best we can and maybe try and do some damage to them. If we can get a large number of kills in a short period of time and maybe not get skewered in the face, then I think we'll have a much easier time of things here. Or, don't die now. Don't die now. Is it just me that thinks my horse is really slow? I'm not entirely sure. It feels very, very slow and sluggish to me right now. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, well, I think that's actually a victory for us right there. I'm just going to be a little bit audacious and just charge straight back on in. I don't know whether that's... I mean, that's obviously very risky. I think I could possibly die very fast if I do, you know, if I continue doing this, and there's someone ready for me with a polearm or something like that, then we could very well lose our life. But we're gonna go zoom zoom. We're gonna go zoom zoom right here, and I think we're gonna be fine. Let's tell my archers to charge in here. Actually, let's just tell them to auto delegate. And there it is. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. We lost 37 units, which is to be expected, of course. We did have a pretty even battle on our hands there, but this is probably the battle, the one that is going to eliminate the Sturgians' hopes of retaking anything for the most part right now. So we shouldn't have any more difficulties with them, or at least we can hope so, cross fingers. And let's take a look at the world map real quick just after this, just to see if there are any Sturgian fiefs somewhere else. There might very well be, so let's be a little bit careful about that. There we go, level everyone up, fantastic, and let's take a look. Okay, yeah, so there are no more fiefs under control by the Sturgians, and we have eliminated their only mobile army at this time, so we obviously have the advantage here. As you can see, Sionon has just been taken by the Palatians. We have to be very careful about those guys. I have a feeling that they're going to, yeah, as you can see, they're actually attempting to take Kulstadt away from us right there, which is really not going to be very good. That's going to be super bad for us to lose that, but I can't do much about it, and if the Palatians are wanting to throw their units against our garrisons, then who am I to say no? I would much prefer that they waste their time, or in general spend their resources, because they're not technically wasting their time, but I would prefer to see them doing it that way rather than chasing me down or defending Sionon or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to go to Maranath in just a second, I think. Oh, there's actually a pretty significant garrison in Sionon already. Very impressive, actually, that they were able to get so many units in there. But I'm pretty happy with that. The Vaegirs are attempting to take back Foreign Castle. Yeah, I already know that they were going to do that, but I'm kind of in a bit of two minds about that, because on the one hand, I could quite easily go back there and try and prevent the Vaegirs from taking it, but on the other, I don't really want to continually change my plans and change my path as a result of the actions of one of the enemy factions, because if I continually do that, I'm not going to get anywhere. It's just going to be one of those things where I just go, yes, I will go here, and then I end up going to that place halfway or so, and then all of a sudden something happens and then I have to change my plans, and then it never ends up happening that I reach my destination, whichever one that might have been. So that's the reason why I generally tend to be a bit more selective as to where I go to defend and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's just see if I can get some more people to go to this guy's army here for the moment. There we go. Maybe some of these. We got another 50 to give over. Ugh. How outrageous, really. How outrageous. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe we can just give him a whole bunch of those. There we go. Okay, so he's got 140 now. That should be pretty good. And let's have a look. Did they manage to take it? No, they haven't managed to take it yet, and they haven't even entered the siege. So I'm not entirely sure if they're even going to be able to do that. But for me, specifically, I'm going to go into Sionon right here. And we're going to try and take that back. I mean, you know what? I should really not do that. I should try not to fight against the Palatians at the moment. You know who I should try to fight up against? Yeah, the Royalist Vlandians. They are the ones that I should be focusing on, and that's exactly what happens. You see my mindset? You see my mindset? My mindset is, okay, we're being attacked by a strong enemy. Which is the strong enemy? Well, the Palatians, of course. We have to try and fight against the Palatians. However, if you look at it more objectively and a little bit more logically, then it makes sense for us to concentrate on the weaker factions so that we can eliminate those or eliminate any possibility that they have of any kind of military reprisal, and then you're going to be much more free to decide whatever you'd like to do in the future. So that obviously makes a big difference. Anyway, we have 99 units in the garrison here. I think we should be able to take this without too many difficulties. I'm actually wondering whether I should just build some stuff. I'm thinking maybe we just want to build some stuff at this point. A trebuchet is probably not even worth it. Probably not, right? I'm thinking a ballista is probably much better in this way. You know what? Let's just leave it the way it is for now. But I'm not really liking this. I mean, I'd like to just go in there and you know, do it the old-fashioned way. But obviously, the problem with doing it like that is, have we literally just destroyed their army? I mean, not their army, their walls. We destroyed their walls already? Are you serious? Okay, I'm just going to go in for an auto-resolve now that their walls are down. It should be an easy victory, as you can see. That was a super fast, super efficient victory right there. And we didn't even... Well, we didn't even bat an eyelid, basically. That was super fast. Okay, so we're going to show mercy right here, and I'm going to decline the honor of being given the castle. I really do not want this castle. We're going to go over to Thraktorai Castle. I'm going to try and take that as well. There are a couple of defenders in there, which is to be expected, of course, because they are from my army. We also have an army over here from the Royalist Vlandians. We have war against us from the Lyrians. No! Oh, that's really bad. Okay. Yeah, that is really bad. I am kind of surprised that every single person right now, every single faction is deciding, hey, you know what? We're going to declare war against these guys, and it's going to be the people that have never once declared war against us in the entirety of this this campaign so far. This series is full of surprises because at one point, we were completely not at war against anyone, as you might expect. You know, there's always going to be those periods of peacetime. But then they have these situations which are extremely strange, where they just all of a sudden come out of nowhere, and there's, what, 5 factions up against you or something like that. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, there we go. We took down the walls, and that was super easy, very fast, for us to do a nice little auto-resolve and take the castle. Gonna show mercy again, gonna decline the honor. I really don't want it, thank you very much. And we're now gonna make our way over to Hongard Castle. So Hongard Castle, wait a minute, what's going on here? Who's actually attempting to take this? Who is attempting to take Cantrek Castle back? I'm kind of intrigued about that. It's probably gonna, yeah, yeah. As I thought, it's gonna be one of these guys. One of these guys, one of the Palatians. Not a big fan of this guy, gotta say. So I think we're probably gonna try and take him down if we can. He used to be an Azerai vassal as far as I'm aware. Yep, we're just gonna go straight on in. I think, you know what? He's surrendering. Did he? Did he actually surrender and I just said no? Oh, well, we killed him very easily with auto-resolve. That was actually really strange, because I thought to myself, he's got 180 units. He's going to be able to do quite some damage to us if we do an auto-resolve. But no, he wasn't able to. Very surprising indeed. Oh well, whatever the case, we still have a great deal of time left. And this gives me an opportunity to go here, sell my prisoners, go into my garrison, see what's going on here. I do have a couple of tier 5 units, not too bad. Let's take a whole bunch of these. Whole bunch of infantry, that's what we're going to need going forward. And we should probably take a couple of archers as well while we still have the opportunity to do so. And that is that. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to level up these guys right here. 34 troops. Nice. Yeah, that's what I like to see. And then what we're going to do is we're going to speak to these guys, give them a whole bunch of really, really good units. And yeah, I think that's a bit too much. Let's just take a bunch away from them. There we go. And oh, are you serious right now? Okay, the game crashed. I'll be back in a second. Well, this is a rather bad turn of events, as you can see down here by this notification that Habyar has now been besieged by someone from the Lyrians. The Vaegirs and the Sturgians have now made peace with us, by the way, so obviously that's perfectly fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but the Lyrians are now starting to dismantle the couple of fiefs that we had down in Azerai territory. As you can see, they're actually... what? They're besieging it again? Okay, there seems to be a bit of a conflict going on down there, as you might expect. Hopefully some of our forces are attempting to defend it or something like that. Anyway, I'm here once again attempting to take these fiefs from the Royalist Vlandians. And hopefully it's not going to crash this time. That's all I can say. I'm mostly declining because I hope that they still put units in there. Oh well, never mind. Okay, yeah, I was actually hoping that we would be able to prevent our allies from placing troops in the garrison if we do not take claim or ownership over the fief itself. Because if we did that, if we could try and prevent that, that would make a huge difference to our staying power as an army itself, instead of having to consistently go back to garrisons and gain more units over and over and over again. It would be much nicer to prevent that from happening, but unfortunately, because we are the only people actually taking stuff, yeah, that's pretty much all I can do, unfortunately. But anyway, let's go into Hongard Castle here. This is going to be much more difficult than everything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and take down the walls, and then we're just going to go in there manually. I hope we'll be able to do that, because as you can see, we are kind of outnumbered right now. If these guys decide to attack us at the same time as the garrison from Hongard, we are going to be in a spot of bother, but hopefully that is not going to happen. And we have another peace agreement. Oh, the Palatians have decided to make peace with us. Of course they would have. Yes, of course they would have. They are absolute scoundrels. They really are. And you'd think, oh, you'd think, oh yeah, look at that. There's a reason why they did that, because our combat strength, by the way, is absolutely insane in comparison to the Palatians. But the Palatians were doing everything they could to pretty much give themselves the advantage in terms of this very short war that they did against us. And that has completely thrown me for a loop right now, especially considering the fact that I actually don't have enough food to continue this siege. As you can see, I have 2 days worth of food left. Well, that's not very good, is it? No, that is not good at all. And we couldn't even get one wall down. Huh. I wonder whether... yeah, this is bad. This is really bad. I'm gonna have to leave, actually. I'm gonna have to leave and go to Galend or something like that. Maybe get some food or something like that before we completely run out. And obviously, this is my fief, so technically, I should be able to do something quite nice here. I should be able to either get some more units, or in general, just try to stabilize our forces. I'm going to just get everything here, just buy absolutely everything. A little bit less wine. And there we go. Okay, so that's 49. That's fantastic. Let's see if we can go into the garrison now and get some more units. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about right here. And is there anyone else I can get? Yeah, I can get some of these Arbalestas, and that seems to be about it, unfortunately. But that is going to be absolutely fine, because what we can do is we can now give this guy a couple of extra units as well. Let's just give him a bunch. Let's level up as well, because we apparently did. That's pretty nice. There we have it. Okay, fantastic. So now we can go back to Hongard Castle, and while we did sustain a couple of casualties as a result of collateral damage, hopefully they won't have seen fit to repair the walls yet. No, it doesn't seem like they have, so we are in luck. Unfortunately, these guys, if they decide to attack us, I think we will be able to defend ourselves, but I think we're going to have to be a bit careful. Alright, so we're just going to continue the siege here. I will hope that we'll be able to get the walls down relatively fast. And I'm going to keep my lance equipped, just in case we do actually go into a field battle with these guys. I think we should have this. The walls go down like no one's business. They literally get destroyed so incredibly fast now that we have engineering perks that are working and implemented appropriately. And now I'm gonna equip my sword, the golden bread slicer, and we will be going in straight away. Let's do it. Let's go in manually. Now bear in mind that obviously, because we're leaving the Royalist Vlandian army still intact, still alive, and very much capable of taking things, they could launch some kind of retaliation. But I'm betting on the fact that they might make bad decisions. And if they make bad decisions, then we are going to have no problems whatsoever with them. But if they do, on the off chance, make good decisions, then obviously we're going to have to adapt to that and then just, try our very best to maintain a decent army size and try not to get ourselves defeated. I'm going to tell everyone to charge in here, because generally, once the walls are down, it should be a relatively easy affair for us to deal with. Is this guy literally hitting me in the head consistently right here? A Sturgian woodsman was able to hit me in the head twice. And wow, that's actually super useful. That is really, really impressive too. Oh, it's getting a little bit dicey here, isn't it? Yeah, it's getting a little bit dicey. I'm literally almost dead because I am wading in there with very, very little regard to my own life, which is probably going to be spelling my demise very, very soon. But I really wanted to just get in there, do some damage, you know, vent a little bit of frustration as well with the whole situation with the Palatians, because they took a couple of our fiefs, and then they were just like, you know what, let's just make peace. And then they got exactly what they wanted from that. And they manipulated the war exhaustion in such an expert way that they were able to gain everything and lose very little. So, in the meantime, the fact that they now have those extra fiefs is going to make a huge difference to their combat strength, because they're going to be able to garrison more units in there. They're going to be able to make it into a place where it's probably going to be very difficult for us to take it back. And that's exactly the reason why they wanted to do that in the first place, in my opinion at least. Because getting fiefs directly increases a faction's combat strength, because over time, getting those units in the garrison, that's going to make so much difference, especially considering in these kinds of situations, when you have a lot of different garrisons, where there's a lot of different troops in there, you can literally just go there after a defeat. So, for example, if I get defeated, what am I going to do first? Well, of course, I'm going to go to one of my garrisons once I've been released, or if I actually get taken prisoner to begin with at all. But in general, once I get released, I'm going to go to the garrison, pull out a bunch of units, and then go on the warpath again. But this time I won't have just recruits or anything like that. You know, that's what I mean. So it's exactly the same thing with the AI, and they generally tend to try and do that. At least it seems like that to me recently, that they are attempting to be a little bit more aggressive in that respect. Anyway, I'm going to claim Hongard Castle here, just generally because it is the last one, or it should be the last one that the Royalist Vlandians had. And there we have it. Okay, so let's take a look at the world map real quick, because I assume there's a lot of movement going on. So let's actually just take a quick look at that. So let me just leave there. Okay, so this is what's currently going on. So they've taken Habyar obviously pretty easily, because for me, I didn't place any units in there. It was basically just the default amount of people in the garrison from when we first initially captured it, and obviously from any units that the improved garrisons recruiting algorithm put in there as well, which is not going to be that many. So obviously that's obviously a bit of a problem as well. But you can see here that the Lyrians are actually extremely powerful right now. You can see they have a lot of different towns and everything. The only reason why my faction in particular has so much combat strength is because of all these fiefs that we've taken. Literally, that's it. That's the only reason. And you can see here 680 combat strength for the Royalist Vlandians. And they, if you zoom in here, 680, well, they have 453 here, so that's about 400 or so combat strength just from these units. So if I were to defeat this army, that would basically be it for the Royalist Vlandians, unless they have a couple of, you know, stray vassals running around somewhere. But yeah, that would basically be it. But hilariously enough, I said that the Palatians gained something, and they did actually take this. But we have now taken it back. Hilariously enough, we seem to have launched some kind of retaliation against them, and they were not able to defend against it, and as a result, we were able to take back the fief that they had otherwise taken very handily indeed. And we also had the Vagirs. They took foreign castles, so they are still around, unfortunately. But the Sturgians, they should be completely done now. But, of course, the Sturgians do have that... they do have that kind of attribute where they generally tend to stick around for quite some time, and I have no idea why, but we'll see what happens in due time. Anyway, in the next episode, we are going to try and see if there are any other factions that we could eliminate, because I think the Lyrians, I don't think they're going to be able to take too much of our, too many of our fiefs, shall we say. Because I own Iakis, I own Askar and Drovra's Castle, and I don't own this, obviously, Medini Castle. But I also own Liberatus and Zionica, so if they do go this far it's going to be difficult for them to push forward unless they have an army of over 1,000. And even then, their resources are going to be stretched maybe quite thin. Because if we take a look at their combat strength, it's actually pretty good. Wow, I'm a little bit afraid. I'm a little bit afraid of them. But the war exhaustion is climbing at a pretty steady rate, so we shouldn't have too many worries in the near future. But I think the Cortanian Vlandians, I would like to be able to eliminate them if at all possible. As you can see, they only have 4 towns remaining. Should be relatively easy for me to eliminate those. And then obviously the Western Empire is a little bit on the smaller side as well. And I would like to be able to take their fiefs too, as well as, of course, the Batanians. So we'll see what happens, but for now, I'm going to be attacking the Lyrians if I can get down there in time, if there are no other factions for me to attack. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.